listening to The Faith Show, Season 2, Episode 1, Rising Tides. Whew! Guys, it's been a minute. It has been a long, periodically time, okay? Y'all know what video I'm talking about. If you don't, look it up. I realized that my last episode was in, December. I'm so sorry that I left you guys hanging. I have definitely been busy healing, chatting, and, coming up with new ideas. Excuse me. But I've been coming up with new ideas, and I had to take some time really to sit with everything that I talked about in the first season, because I have been on my healing journey ever since, I left my mother's house in 2017. But the fact of the matter was, healing isn't linear. And by creating that body of work of really just, what my reality was and coming to terms with how I feel about things moving forward, I had to sit in that. So there was no way for me to just jump right back into, something new, which is this now. I decided to change the name from Beyond the Surface because it was never my name. There's something I have to tell you guys. There was a point in time last year, it only lasted for about 3 months, but I was found by a life coach. Her name is Sheer. She is on Instagram, not sure what her handle is, but I have her blocked. I'm getting too ahead of myself. Let me start by saying, during the time when I was feeling at my lowest, I had made a bunch of posts in the Facebook group chats of, colleges that I had been accepted to, FIT, FITM, and ASU. So she had found me and more or less was like, I feel like you have potential and, I just want to help you get back on your feet, help you get a footing. And at that time, it felt like a godsend because I was like, oh my gosh, I have been feeling so shit lately. Honestly, I just feel completely lost. I know I'm not going to be working anymore, at least, in a capitalistic way. I'm in a relationship, at that time that I didn't necessarily want to be in. It felt forced. I just felt lost and confused. And, her finding me felt like some cure-all. But the fact of the matter was, she didn't do much work. Or how can I put it? She had me following very basic steps, kind of just to get myself back on track internally. Small habits, small steps, and, obviously, I'm super authentic with you guys. I'm authentic in real life, with everybody else. So I had told her, that I had BPD, that I had CPTSD, and, that I was really struggling just with my mental, but also with my current reality, And she more or less just seemed like she was being very empathetic, very sympathetic, and, her plight was that she was showing me that she cared about me. That was something that she really wanted to convey, that she was doing what she was doing for free because, she had other businesses, she had other clientele that, were paying her. She lived in LA. She was flying to, she didn't live in LA. She lived in California somewhere else, but she went to school in LA, and she had to fly into school, every Thursday. I don't quote me because I don't remember entirely, but she was having to fly from another part of California to LA to get to school. And, more or less, she was just gloating and bragging about how much money she had and how many businesses she had and how, this was really from the heart for her. She was doing this because she cared. So, obviously, when you're in a state a vulnerability and you feel like you have no one you can lean on, people love to take advantage of that, right? So obviously, I was like, yeah, I was believing her in that moment. I still had that little twitch, that twitch of discernment, like, be cautious, right? So as time continued, it was very clear to me that she was no longer willing to help in the ways that she like first initially wanted to or claimed, because she told me, she wanted to be a guest on my podcast. She was going to share my stuff, like she wanted to be in like collaboration with me. And I was like, oh, okay, great. So there was this time when something was going on and I was just feeling really low. I think, if I'm being honest, it was around the time where I was having an issue with my mental health medication, and it had me all over the place. I had lost 10 pounds. I was feeling super sick. And around that time, I really was just like reaching out and saying, like, I don't need like these, I guess, lists or ways to make this podcast that she came up with the name Beyond the Surface for. Like, I don't have the time to curate this image that I have felt and feel doesn't resonate with me at an authentic level. But like, I need other help. Like, I feel like I don't have like the friendships. I don't have, at that time, I didn't have a therapist. Like, I didn't have anyone to lean on, and realistically, I needed to be leaning to myself, leaning inwardly, because I had the answers. But in that moment, I didn't feel like I did, and I really was just seeking support. So during like, okay, so fast forward, she replies to my message of, just like seeking real support. And she tells me, this is probably like after a whole month of her not really being around, because after the first 2 months of her, I would say, genuinely helping me, like, showing me Canva, helping me really just kind of learn how to schedule my own content. That's something that I really, those two things, like just introducing me to Canva and teaching me how to organize my content, I really actually do appreciate her for. But like, apart from that, she really wasn't doing anything. You know what I mean? Like, because at the end of the day, if you claim to be a life coach, you are just somebody's mentor. You're trying to guide them through their own life. But she wasn't necessarily doing that. If anything, it felt like she was more someone who was like helping with content creation. And it was like, once she realized that she wasn't like really just in the position to life coach me, she copped out. Like, she completely was like, oh, like, from this point, I feel like, you would need to pay me for these services because, like, this is a lot. And, literally at that moment, I told her, I was just like, I was really kind of seeking some support. And for you to throw, like, the money in my face after you found me and more or less went on this whole tirade about how this was from the heart and you wanted to be helpful, but like, now when I actually need your help, like, you don't really want to show up. And she was like, I'm sorry you felt that way. And, just more or less not taking accountability and just saying, well, she needed some money at this point. So obviously I decided to stop working with her. And after I thought over, the months that we were actually working together, it was like all she was trying to do, mind you, she was 23, so she was younger than me. But all she was trying to do was really what a lot of capitalist people in our world try to do, which is, it's really like manipulating your emotional vulnerability into paying them. Like, to sell something. Like, her whole entire point was for me to, do these quizzes for her, or not quizzes. How should I word it? Like, better wording. Reviews on her services, write this, like, comment this, whatever. And it was like, I can't believe that I thought that you were genuinely trying to help me, and this was clearly just, something you needed to further your business. Like, I was the token black girl who was struggling, who you felt that you were going to get an applause for like helping me, because she thought that she would be able to take me, like, to the top or whatever. But then when she realized that, like, I'm a real person, real struggles, real everything, it was like she copped out and felt like, oh, I need money. That's also another reason, guys, why I'm getting into life coaching, why I call myself a spiritual director, because I am not going to leave people when they need me most, especially if they are going to be paying me. And especially not if I seek someone out and decide that I want to devote my time and energy to seeing them progress. But apart from that, it was just like I had to realize what was going on, because we even had a little argument because she was telling me that she didn't like, well, more or less, I told her that she didn't understand my point of view. How could she? Like, you live in LA, you're telling me you have multiple businesses, you're telling me that you're dating an older man, he's in the military, like, you're telling me you fly to school every week, like, you're gloating, and you want me to just, like, tell you that you relate to me, and you don't. And she literally got upset with me, like a whole argument, because she was like, don't tell me that I don't understand. You can't tell me that I don't understand. And it was just like an insane situation. But I realized and learned so much from it, because I came to the conclusion, like, I'm not gonna be this way with people. And I am so done with this way of living, this way of thinking, this way of collaborating, this way of claiming, like, that you had the desire to help people. So I was like, I never, wanted the name to be beyond the surface. I truthfully didn't have enough time to even think about a name that really resonated, because it was all moving very fast. Because truthfully, she had the idea for a podcast. She was telling me, oh, I want to do a podcast so bad, but I'm just so busy and I have all this other time. I don't have, like, enough time. So more or less, she was trying to, build her vision through me. Whether she, like, believes that or, accepts that is neither here nor there. But that's the reality. So it's like, once I realized that, and it's not that Beyond the Surface doesn't necessarily resonate, because it's like that whole first season really is beyond the surface for me. That is beyond my surface. That is how I grew up, a lot of all of that. But the fact of the matter is, it's like I'm not beyond that. I'm not beyond no surface no more. I'm above the surface. I'm about to start living. I'm literally walking into a new life. I don't think the way I used to, live the way I used to. Like, I'm completely different. And I'm so grateful and thankful that I'm able to share that with you guys. That I, like, actually did the thing. Like, when I was a kid and was talking all my shit, like, oh, I'm gonna do this, like, I was really saying it, y'all, and I was really doing it. So it's like, I'm so excited now, and I'm not gonna sit there and, rehearse my pain or trauma anymore. That's why the name is changed to The Faith Show. 777. That has always been my number. It's the number of completion. I feel like, the show is about me. It's about my life and how my life has been really what feels like a very specific set of steps to be able to help and guide other people to a better way of living. So my content, isn't just going to be me ranting as much anymore. I'm going to have like specific topics, that aren't like, you know, just like so deep all the time, because I don't want to be serious all the time. I am so playful. Like, I am a jokester. So something that I want to do in this podcast is, focus on the fact that we are so valuable inherently. And I want it to be about, how things that humans should know, like a safe space for people who are spiritual and not religious. Like, I don't want this channel to be so professional. I want it to be me. And I've been like, I read this book, and I read Parable of the Sower. And, I've come to the understanding that everyone is their own universe. And I really want the direction of this show to be a connection. I want there to be, videos and interviews with people. I want there to be the visual aspect and just the audio. I know that I can't single-handedly fix, the world. But I do know that I can be influential. And I believe that if I stand firm in my beliefs internally and externally, aka embodiment, then they will work out. And my podcast is about freedom and love for everyone. I say specifically on my channel that it's for all the seeds of the earth. The reason being is because in Parable of the Sower, the main character, Lauren, she is more or less, she creates a new religion. I guess you could say it, but it's really like just a different way of living. And she calls everyone earth seeds, because it's like, that's what we really are. And so much of our inherent magic has been taken away. And I just want people to realize that it's inside of them, that it's there. That it hasn't fully gone away. But we keep continuing, patterns. And I don't want to continue the pattern on this channel. I also have to promote my event. It'll be August 9th. And it's so imperative for my listeners to donate and, share the podcast and share my link tree, because this is going to be revolutionary. I have felt prepared for such a time as this since I was literally like 1 or 2. I've just been like aware and so imaginative, and I understand the purpose for it now. And I'm so excited to create this safe space and platform for all of the people who feel marginalized and who are marginalized. That means my trans folks, my LGBTQI community, people with a bunch of piercings, a bunch of tattoos, a bunch of people who are disabled, people who are heavier, people who are skinny, people who have guts and B-shaped stomachs and fupas, people who know who they are, people who are struggling to figure out who they are, people who are willing to start the journey into discovering themselves. I want to be with you on that journey. I want to talk to you through that journey. And I want you to show me your world, because I'm so interested in it. Because for so long, I've been isolated and having to focus on myself. I wasn't able to live in the ways that I used to from like isolation, guys. I mean, travel, all the things I wasn't able to do. And now I know that there's so many doors and so many opportunities for me to connect with people in ways that were forgotten and new entirely. And I'm really just so excited. And I hope that you stick with me for this journey. By the way, my new intro music and outro music is Blackbird. The reason being for the song, obviously, apart from the fact that it's a song about, being a black woman and, the civil rights movement and all of that trauma and pain, it's also the song that was sung in the movie Beyond the Lights. And it's so special because that movie is about a woman who she wanted to end her life. She wanted things to be over because she was so tired of pretending and performing. And then she meets someone who shows her that she can be herself and be loved, that she doesn't need to perform in the ways that society wants her to, that she can come to herself fully and be loved and accepted that way. And she can shine real bright. Okay? Okay. Y'all know The Fault in Our Stars. I'm a book reader. And we finna be talking about books on here too. Alright. Love you guys. Thanks for listening to The Faith Show. Stay updated on new episodes and all things faith.